Hey everybody! Oh my gosh, let me get my bra in my shirt. That's horrible. Don't I just look like a degenerate person today? Alrighty, chickies and chuckies. I just wanted to pop on because, let me turn my camera off. Just wanted to pop on because I had popped over to John Davis's True Crime. Recommend you guys go watch him. Him and his wife Brandy they seem like super, super nice people. So if you get a chance, go over, subscribe to them, and watch their content. John and her do a fantastic job, I think. He actually had Andrew Hiltz on there, and I'm glad I popped over because I didn't know he was talking to Andrew. And there I had some questions and I did put them in chat, and for once, Andrew answered some of my questions. So, from my understanding, the house that they were supposed to have moved into was in the Kingsport area, from what he says, and not word for word what he was saying about it. Because I was always curious on where that house was that they were moving to, that they came all the way from New York to move into this house, right? They get there. The landlord doesn't call them in advance, doesn't say anything about already having the house occupied. So when they get there, they're screwed with furniture in the back, and I think there was like up to 14 people with them, something like that. There was a couple different families with kids, and his brother, who he calls his brother Jeffy, and Jose. Now he answered some questions about, Jose had mentioned when he did that live stream with Justin from the pretty guy, the guy who looks really pretty. And Jose had said that he hadn't talked to Andrew for like 3 years, and that Andrew was lying about everything he said about Jose. John had asked him a question about something about did Jose let them know, what exactly did Andrew say to Candace and Allie about Jose and his mental status? He just said that, he basically told him because of Jose's drinking and stuff like that, and just to keep an eye on Jose. There were a few other things. Now, my question, and I'll explain why I asked this question. Who was your friend who knew Andy Bernard in Tennessee that hooked Andy and Andrew up to discuss Andrew on Summer's first anniversary of missing, to come down and stay at the cabin, okay? Polly Bernard's cabin, the one Jody Sue and Andy lived in. Who was that friend who said, oh, hey, I know Andy Bernard. Let's see if we can hook you up with this cabin. You can go down for Summer's vigil and you can see Hunter. Honestly, I never paid much attention to whether he actually went or not. I don't think he went. And if he did, I don't think he's seen Hunter. I remember hearing something about that. Hunter was working and he didn't want to embarrass Hunter by going into his job or anything like that. Yeah, you know what? To me, I would be like, I don't care where my daughter or my son's working. If I haven't seen them for a while and I have a chance to go where they live, and you better believe I'm going to walk in that job and give some hugs out for sure. But Andrew's a different character for sure. But yeah, who is that person, Andrew? I would just love to know. Um, it's just one of the questions that I have. Now, I have a question too. Do you guys think that I've been too hard on Don Wells? I don't hide the fact that I don't like him, but do you think that, the content that I've been putting out and, you know, different questions I've been asking, am I being too harsh, you think? Do, I haven't even really started on Candace. I know I kind of started on Candace and ended up on Dawn, and Dawn had a phone call with Doug from No Thanks. And, I want to say, you guys go watch it. I can show it on here or play it on my phone so you can hear it, and I might do that. I might play it on my phone. But I started out, a long, long time ago watching Doug, and then he got his soundboard and he started making crazy sounds and popping jokes off in the middle of, what I thought was some serious discussion. So I kind of took a step back from Doug. And, but when I watched him talking to Don Wells, yes, I believe they did it yesterday. I'm not quite sure. But it was a really good conversation they had with each other. And I, not necessarily, hey, Lori. Lori said, hello, I'm going to try to listen. My data is so messed up. I don't know how long it will work, but wanted to say hi. What do you mean your data, hon? Are you having trouble with your phone or something, or your computer? I just had to go I got a new laptop because I'm going to be going out of town for about 3 weeks, right? And I don't want to have to take my whole computer with me. So I went ahead, I've got a laptop, but it's just not up to date. So I just went ahead and invested in a new one. So I'm pretty excited about that. And, then I can kind of at least pop in and say hi to everybody, while I'm gone. I have something else that I wanted to kind of bring up too. It's going around that Benny's in jail. Has anybody heard that? And I'll tell you why I thought that. I'm going to pop it up here. I kind of hate to do this, but this. I heard it. Actually seen somebody say it in a chat. But this is what kind of made me believe it. And let me go over here and because I'll tell you why I'm asking, just because I don't. Let me see if I can. Oh wait, man, that's Miley. I don't know how to do shorts. You haven't even been hard on him, but even if you were, you are entitled. Thank you, Lori. That's definitely what I try to keep my channel about. But anyway, Tam posted a short. I don't know how to even get back to it, but that showed that Benny was in jail. Whatever he did, I mean, he just came into a lot of money. So he can bond himself out. He won't have to have a bunch of people organizing money, to bond him out. He can bond himself out. And this is what I think of Benny, just to let you know. If Benny went to jail, whatever he went to jail for, he would have known that he could bond himself out. I mean, if he did something, Lori, he is playing Don. Doug has been playing Don since the beginning, and he lets Don say his piece, and he has lightened up on when he's talking to Don, making jokes, and making fun of him or whatever, because that's Doug. You know, Doug, you know, would Don would be trying to say something, and you know, but when I listened to the conversation, what I heard was Doug basically telling Don the stuff that Candace was doing when he was in jail and stuff. Now, yeah, I was really surprised because Don handled the conversation very well and made the statement that basically, you know, she she has emotions, and you know, basically what I said. Don was doing her dirty anyway, so she just turned around and did him dirty in little ways. And you know, another thing that kind of got me, because Andrew Hiltz made the comment that somebody caught Candace with her hands down Jose's pants. All right, that's the first time I heard that. I also heard that, oh, what was it? Somebody was caught in bed together. I don't know if it was Allie and Jose or Candace and Jose, but Hunter caught somebody in bed together and wasn't very happy about it. But, you know, as far as Hunter, I'm going to say this. Dawn, especially, went around the YouTubian galaxy telling everybody that Hunter had been sending Candace provocative pictures and different stuff like that. Now, I did hear Andrew say today that Hunter had posted a couple things on Facebook, and Candace put comments on them that was very inappropriate, right? So, sorry, I took a drink of my tea. Hunter, being a young boy, and I've went over this before, and I'm sorry if I sound redundant, because believe it or not, I don't go back and listen to my own lives or content. I really don't. So if I sound redundant, I'm so sorry. But Hunter, being a young man, even though he was, I'm sure, tried to act older than what he was, you know, it was said that he kind of ran Allie's house and things like that. And, you know, but Hunter was a young man, and Candace's sense of humor is really off kilter. So maybe some of her responses to things were not appropriate at all. But the people that she associated herself with, you know, probably seen the comment and thought it was funny or something. There's never been any charges showing anything. There's no pictures of Hunter drinking the twisted tea. What made Candace look even bad about that was because Hunter said that he drank the twisted tea. Candace, when she's at the swim hole with Chris McDonough, makes the comment, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he drank the twisted tea or not. You bought the twisted tea specifically for your mother. Would you not know if he drank that twisted tea? See, those things make her look bad. But you have to understand too, you wouldn't want to, if she had nothing to do with Summer missing, she wouldn't want to go to jail for giving Hunter a twisted tea. That's not what she wouldn't want to go to jail, period. My cell phone, T-Mobile, can't figure out the problem with it. I'm going to either upgrade my cell or get a new laptop also. I know right now Apple is giving away free iPhones or something. but it's like on a they give it to you, and you have to pay for it over time, but they're not charging any interest and stuff with it. So that's really weird. Yeah, you can do your lives from your cell phone. Well, the only reason I don't do lives on my cell phone is because I have a totally different Google account and everything on my cell phone. It's not in any way, shape, or form tied in with this channel at all. So it's just, that's my personal phone, and I just don't put anything like that on there, which is probably silly. I probably could. I have gone live on my phone before, and it says my real name and everything, and I don't care if people know my real name. My name's Mary. I've never hid the fact what my name was. So, but with the thing with Hunter, you know, so for months and months, Don went through the galaxy and talking about Hunter and these inappropriate pictures and everything else. And where I got upset with it was the pure fact that number one, your wife is the adult. If Hunter sent her any pictures like that, she should have erased them immediately. She shouldn't have kept them. And she should have told Allie, and she should have told Hunter, don't send them to me anymore. So instead, Don takes that little bit of info. I don't even know if he's seen the pictures. He might have said he's seen them. But he takes that little bit of info and he runs with it because he's mad at them for doing the interview with Chris McDonough and what they said, right? He felt that they did him dirty. The thing about that is, and I'm not going to get off track, but the thing about that is, Allie herself, okay, at one time said Don was a good guy. She never hid that fact. Don was a good guy. I'm sure most of the stories that you heard from Allie were about Candace. I don't think she knew Don. I don't think Allie knew Don that well. So you've got him out here with this, 15-year-old boy talking about these inappropriate pictures. And not that I feel bad for Hunter because, he wanted to play grown and he got into some big trouble. So Hunter was dealing with getting ready to go to court and being on probation and all that other stuff from it wasn't little stuff he did. Hunter did a bad thing. So, but Hunter was young enough and he had a girlfriend and he was working, and it seemed like he was trying to get something right. Get something right in his life. That's the way it seemed to me anyway. And that would have been a very hard conversation to have with your little 14-year-old girlfriend on why this woman, Candace of all people, says she has inappropriate pictures of you on her phone. People are saying you slept together. People are, just really putting it out there. And I felt bad for Hunter about that. That had to have been probably very embarrassing for him. And even though he was young and he might have went out there telling people, oh, I tapped that older lady, I give her what she wants because I can get what I want from her. Do we know that they were hanky-panky in it that day? The only thing that makes me question the whole time, that whole day, and not just after Candace got home, was because the employees at the horse barn said that truck, Grandma's truck, had been over there most of the day. It was supposed to only be 15 minutes. Sorry, you guys, my dog's barking. It must be the mailman or Somebody's dropping off a package. Hang on, I'll give her a holler real quick. All right. I said please, so maybe that'll work. She's a good dog. She's a red-nosed pit, and she's very old, and she's very heartbroken because my other dog, we had to have her put to sleep. Rainey and Shaylee were together every day from the day that I got Shaylee, because of course we had Rainey first, but so there's just times I can just see the sadness in her eyes, because it's like her sister's not here anymore. So it's really sad. But anyhow, getting back to Hunter. At one time, Andrew said that they couldn't file charges against Candace, that Hunter had to say what the situation was between him and Candace. And I don't, if Hunter did that, because from my understanding, I don't know if it was Allie or Andrew who did it, but they called CPS about the situation, from my understanding. Now, Don says the CPS investigation into them was initiated because the kids had some BB guns and different things and was shooting them off or something, and somebody called CPS, and he says that on the 14th, the CPS was done. There was no more CPS. That case was completely done. So I'm going to pull that up because it's very interesting. Let me see if I can pull that up and see if we can listen to that conversation that they had. Hang tight with me just a minute. YouTube. I'll have to find it because I don't think I'm subscribed to Doug. What must I? Okay. No thanks. That's a pretty good name of a channel too. No thanks. Right, there you are, Doug. Let's get you up here, buddy. Let me find it. So Don Wells comes on panel, and okay, this is it. Let me pull it up for everybody so you can hear it. Hang on, there's a commercial. Sorry, bear with me, people. All right, let me see. Let me make that bigger. That's Doug's intro you hear. So let me see if I can get it to where.
Can you show me your face real quick?
All right.
You're on the home phone, and then she switched to the messenger app.
Can you hear that?
Are you talking about when Summer first went missing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, she called the police on her mother's phone because her mother had AT&T. We didn't have AT&T phones at that time. We had poor service. So when she got on her phone, she called me on Messenger, or I called her.
Can you hear that, Lori? Oh, wait, I might have hit pause. Oh, no, I didn't.
It's like right
think
before
you should be able
someone's
to
going
hear
to
it
give you
pretty
the
good.
code to the safe. They take their last breath. Right, like, no. Don, you're muted, by the way, too.
Oh, Don muted himself. That's what it
on the
was.
phone.
But yeah, this conversation with Don that Doug has, very, very good. Doug didn't interrupt him a lot, and
Yeah, that's kind of important. Like the time that he talked to Candace, and then she leaves for the 45 minutes.
Doug brings out some really good points here.
Which car was she in, too?
We know when she left the hill to go actually look for Summer, supposedly she was in Grandma's truck. But they also had the
I'm trying to
Suburban.
get him back on here.
Don's work truck was there. They had quite a few vehicles up there. So Candace actually was selling off some of the vehicles and stuff to be able to move to Utah. So we know that they were going to
Just
sell
be
the
patient.
property. Candace was packing up. Everything was looking good to go to Utah. And then here comes Jose. And then all of a sudden, Candace doesn't want to go to Utah anymore. So in my mind, I'm going like, wait a minute. What made her not want to go to Utah where Don says they can have a better life? It's just silly. I don't understand it. So also you got to think when law enforcement went in there to look, sorry, she's barking again. When law enforcement went in there to look, okay, some of her stuff had already been packed up. My dog is being a butthead. So, all right. I'm just waiting on Doug here because he's waiting on Don to come back. Let me get it a little bit further and see what we can do here. There we go.
All right, there you are.
I gotta fix everything again.
No problem. Take your time. Just take your time.
But
let me know when you're ready.
Oh, ridiculous.
Don truly believes Candace. Whatever Candace told him, he believes.
Get my coffee. We're good. Take your time.
Hopefully I'm back. I don't know.
There you go. I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I don't know for how long, but I'm here.
All right. So I was just asking you. So when you were talking for 45 minutes, what car was she driving?
Well, like she said, I mean, she took her mom's truck down looking for Summer, and she was driving all over up and down Van Hill Road, you know.
So she didn't take the Suburban at all, didn't she? I thought she took the Suburban from home that day at some point.
I think she they took her mom's truck to the lake and all that.
Right. So I thought she left again during the time frame, and then.
No, I don't think so, because when they got back, I mean, you know, they put the groceries away. The boys were playing their video games and everything like that.
So would Candace do?
Now the Suburban that they're talking about had been setting up on the hill. Don said when at one time he was going to allow Jody Sue to use the Suburban. Don had been taking Jody Sue to town, groceries, food, I mean, different things like that, because Jody Sue was very ill. So it was very hard for Jody Sue to, at times, with her cancer, their car wouldn't necessarily make it up the driveway all the way up to the cabin. So they would park at the bottom of the hill. And Jody was so ill that she had a hard time even walking back up. Killer Looks did a video, showed a property where footprints were found. The owner is a woman who knows Andrew Hiltz. Thank you, Victoria. I asked Andrew, try to do that in John Davis's chat. And guess what? No recognition to it. Because this is what I'm saying. Look at this situation. Summer's first vigil, right? June 15th. It would have been 2022. Andrew Hiltz talked about going to Tennessee and getting an Airbnb. Then all of a sudden, he says that he was surprised, but somebody he knew actually knew Andy Bernard, and they all talked together and decided that Andrew was going to be able to actually go and stay in the cabin. The same cabin where Jody Sue lived, and, you know, Andy lived there, that Polly Bernard and her husband owned, Andy's parents. So I did see that video, and I recommend everybody to go watch Killer Looks. When I watch his content, there are so many puzzle pieces that click together for me in my mind. But yes, supposedly now I don't know if it was the property where the footprints were found. I don't know about that. Because I don't think I actually, maybe seen that exact thing. But yes, supposedly Andrew Hiltz, his name comes up. There's someone who lives in Beach Creek, and his name is down the line from these people as, let's say, genealogy wise. So that's very interesting. So yeah, thank you, Victoria, for mentioning that to me. Definitely go watch Killer Looks. All right, let's start this again.
Usually tell the boys if she was good. Let me ask you this: Could Grandis, Candy Hair, what kind of knee brace did she have? Was it like an ace bandage, or was it like a Velcro strap? Like, what kind of knee brace is it?
I haven't got a clue, bud, because I've never seen it. I really don't know.
The only way that Don wouldn't know about that knee brace, the only way he would not know about that knee brace is if possibly they gave it to her that day. Okay? Because she lived with him on the hill. Why wouldn't she know about that knee brace? Why wouldn't he know about that knee brace? Even though that's really irrelevant. And I remember a time a creator came out, and someone that they were talking to that was close to the family talked about grandma's leg she had a peg leg or something. It was kind of ridiculous, but if they gave her the brace that day, I can kind of see Don not knowing about it, but I don't see how he wouldn't know about it if she lived there, all the time that she had been there.
No, okay.
Okay, so all right. At that point, okay. At what point do you remember what time you called where they were at Walgreens, and you said you were going to?
Now, he's changed these times up there. And like I said, over time, he adapts to the, I'll say stories that are out there, okay? Lori said, I wonder if she even had a knee brace. Makes you wonder since he says he never seen it. Yeah. Victoria said, no offense, but Doug's fart sounds never get old. I laugh every single time. Yeah, Doug can be really funny at times. I mean, he really can. But that's what I appreciate so much about Doug, because this time when he's talking to Dawn, he's on it. He's very serious, and I just appreciated that when he's talking to him this time. It just made more sense to me. Yeah, Victoria, Don just said he's never seen Grandma have a knee brace. Didn't know about it. Didn't know about it. So very interesting. Put that on your little list, guys. It may not mean anything, but it's interesting.
I'm not exactly sure.
So you thought you
Okay, I hate to keep interrupting, but we know for a fact on the timeline and that it's verified that the Walgreens incident, I can't remember if it was actually dropping off the prescription or picking up the prescription, was at 1:33. 1:33. So when they dropped the prescription off, they said it was going to be 20 minutes or so. So if they dropped it off at 1:33 and they went to the swim hole for 15 minutes or so. Then they went back and picked the prescription up. Okay. Hunter was dropped off around 2:30. But he was picked up like they say 10:30. They did all that running. So kind of keep your little notes on that little timeline piece of information there, and because oh shoot, I'm sorry you guys, I messed up.
Friends get together to have a good time.
What they did was I gotta start that all over again. I messed that up. I had it with my hand. All right, YouTube. I'm talking to my phone, guys. I know it probably sounds crazy. Oh shoot, it just repeated what I said on my phone. So it's not gonna pick up. It's not gonna find YouTube. I'm talking on my phone, you guys, so I know I sound crazy. It would have went right to me. I guarantee it. All right, YouTube. Give me a second, guys. I'm so sorry. I got a little excited there for no reason. There we go. I can bring it right back. At least I know where it's at. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Sorry, everybody. Commercial.
To my buddy for like an hour about whatever we talked about. Then after he left, I started working a little bit, and that's when
was your buddy a worker? Was your buddy a worker there, or he would just stop by to hang out?
Well, he was working a couple houses down from me.
Okay, got it. So it's the same kind of company, right?
Yeah, same company. He worked at the same company.
Nice. Okay, good. That day, you say it took you half the time from the Meadows in Jonesboro to get home, and you're driving over the double yellow.
Okay, I want to stop it there because I want to kind of back up. Don said that he was talking to coworkers for an hour and a half, right? And this is just what I've been saying. And there's so many opinions and theories, and it's great. I love to hear all different kinds, But I'm asking myself, now he's saying he's not sure what time he talked to Candace. When before the story was she was dropping the prescription off or whatever. He thought that it was the Walgreens scenario. That call, it has been said, was around 3, right? And I can go back to the Chris McDonough thing and show you the time that he put himself calling Candace. But if the drop off was at 1:33 to Walgreens, okay, or even the pickup, I would have to go back and listen to what Chris says, but we do know for a fact that Walgreens, the drop off was at 1:33, or the pickup. We're not. I don't know which one. I don't even think Chris even went that far, or I didn't hear him when he talked about it. And Hunter specified that Dawn made the comment there was someone on the hill touching little kids. A lot of people questioned that because they said if Dawn knew this, how would Dawn know that? Okay. How would he know that? Unless one of the boys contacted him on Facebook Messenger or whatever, which is a good possibility. All three kids had a phone. And they were all, playing around on their phones and stuff. Victoria, I saw a video breakdown showing Hunter at the swim hole putting what he looked like a drink down on the ground. Oh, you're talking about the video that Candace did where he was throwing up gang signs, right? And she didn't want that in her video. She didn't want that in her video, yet somebody took a picture of Summer at 4 or 5 years old standing there doing some kind of gang sign. And all right. So now the timeline on when Dawn actually talked to Candace that day is messed up again. Okay. So where do we go from there? I know everybody wants to start this timeline when she dropped Hunter off. And I think that's a great point. That's a great point to start it. But if they're not being honest about that day and they can never get their times right. It's like Dawn has said the whole time, and if you've ever watched Voices Behind the Wall, Dawn was a lunch person at 3 or whatever. Also, Dawn said, well, I figured they were gone. I would just work longer, okay? He would just work longer? The boys were at home alone. But when he talked to Chris McDonough, he was like, well, I guess I didn't ask if the boys, I didn't even ask anything about the boys. Do you know where the Pick of Summer is doing it? If you can show me, I can find out which it is. Lori, I will find that, darling. I will find that and show it to you. I don't know if I can do it right this moment, but I will definitely find that for you.
And all that stuff, and how long did it take you to get home? And do you remember exact time that you left after you put away your tools? What time you left from the Meadows?
I'm not exactly sure. I couldn't exactly tell you because I don't know. I threw everything in my car. And as soon as I got in the car, I called 911, and they had to switch me over from a Jonesboro operator to the Kingsport operator. Or not Kingsport, but Harvest County.
Right. Because when you call 911 wherever you are, it goes to that specific kind of area, just in case somebody calls out.
I guess so. I didn't know. I don't know.
That is true. I guess they did have to transfer it over from the county he was in from Jonesboro to Hawkins County. But all this time, in the beginning, it was 5:30. I swore it was 5:30. I just don't know why I kept thinking it was 5:30. And then I got the phone call from Candace, and I put all my tools in the truck. His tools are expensive, so I can see him wrapping them, getting them taken care of or whatever. But if you're standing there, okay, if you're standing there and you're talking to these people you're working with, and your boss is even sitting there talking to you, okay, and you get a phone call that your daughter's missing to the point where you say you need to call 911, I would have thought that his boss would be like, get your ass home. We'll lock the house up and don't worry about your tools. Nobody is going to mess with your tools. That's just me, though.
I don't know how that works, but yeah, they had to switch me over.
So you called 911. Yeah, you didn't tell Candace to call 911. You called 911 first.
I hung up with Candace and told her to call 911 just in case, just to make sure. Call 911, get them out there looking, just in case, you know, she's down the street or what. Who knows? We didn't know at that time. We didn't know anything. We still don't know nothing.
So what's the conversation when you're driving home and Candace is driving looking for Summer, and she goes to the Baptist church first and looking for her? What's the conversation for 45 minutes that you guys have as you're merging towards each other? What is that conversation for 45 minutes?
Well, I'm watching her on video because we're on Messenger and we're talking back and forth. And, you know, I can see that she's driving everywhere. I can see she's in her mom's truck. And I can see that she's frantic and all that stuff. And, yeah.
What was the conversation, though, for 45 minutes? Because you say you've never talked to for 45 minutes straight. And again, I'm assuming that's because of cellular issues. But that 45 minutes, what was that 45-minute conversation like? Besides, you know, her being frantic for 45 minutes, was it, hey, I'm going here, 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 and here, or I went to change Grandma's knee brace? Like when you got home, did Grandis have a knee brace on?
I never noticed that. I don't know. I really don't know. I was, you know, when I got there, I went to the bottom property, and that's when I seen my neighbors and my boys all three together on the other side of the hill. And that's, you know, that's when my heart just sank after that. And I knew that if they couldn't find her on top of the hill or anywhere around the hill, I knew I was positive at that point that she was gone.
Right. You knew, well, we all knew that she would have been gone. Did you feel like she was gone when you left your work? Did you feel like you were going to find her when you got home?
Well, I was just hoping, you know, that she was just, you know, hiding or lost or, you know, somewhere close by. I was figuring and hoping that she would be found soon. And I figured she probably would be, but just in case, you know, we called 911 and everything else just to make sure. And then
so you call 911 and you have a conversation with them, right?
You know,
after they transfer you.
You know.
What was your conversation with 911? Can you say?
Just that our little, I mean, the best that I can recall is just, you know, our little girl's missing. Please go there and help us find our little girl. And that was probably about all I said. That's all.
Did they not say that you were on the phone with your wife right now as we speak?
I don't think so.
Because they would want you not driving and talking. It would obviously be like if she's home or whatever.
Now, Don and Candace both supposedly called 911. But what they've released of the 911 call states that Summer's 4. I think her height might have been different, which is, you know, the height thing and possibly the weight thing. You know, I can kind of see getting a little off on that, you know, with Dawn working all the time. And when you have a child that's around you all the time, you really don't notice how they grow. You know, my granddaughter, she's 10 now, and I still look at her like she's my little baby that's still in the crib, you know, but that's just the way I look at her. I know I'm weird, everybody. But yeah, Lori, Don supposedly didn't even ask if the boys, he didn't ask about the boys at all. And people find it strange. And I think John Davis even mentioned to Andrew about why would Candace go pick up Hunter, of all people, and take him with her, but left the boys at home. Now, Candace does say there was no premeditation of her and Hunter being together that day, is what she said. So, yeah, that was the dispatch call, dispatching. So, but, I know a lot of people were like, oh, the dispatcher messed it all up, but maybe, I don't know. Check my volume again. Marie, are you having, is my volume, you can't hear me again? Or is it the phone call you're having trouble hearing? I'll check it. Marie. Did you hear me that time? I'll check it for you, Marie. Give me just a minute.
Keep her there in case Summer comes back, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I really can't remember.
Okay, so not remembering, I hear you. Okay, so you get home and you go to the first bottom property, right?
Yeah.
Is that on Beach Creek?
Yes.
Okay, so it's on Beach Creek. And where's Jody Sue's house in relation to that, where that bottom shed is?
Well, it would be, to get to Jody Sue's house from there in a direct line, you'd have to go over our hill, down that side of the hill, and then up her.
Sorry, commercial.
Are you looking for a place to fit in? Our
driveway to the top of her hill.
Okay, so going out your driveway, could you go into her old property almost? On the other side of the street? No, you'd have to go which direction, left or right out of your driveway?
Out of our driveway to go to Jody Sue's house?
Mm-hmm.
Her driveway's across from our driveway, but it goes up to the top of her hill.
How far is it from your house to her house? A good quarter of a mile, right?
I mean, we live on top of the hill, and her house is on top of the hill.
Okay.
I mean, it's within shouting distance. It's quite a ways, but if it's real quiet out, you can hear, some things, I guess.
Do you feel that scream she heard is founded or unfounded?
I don't know. I mean, at the time, I thought that she possibly could have really heard something, but now I don't. After I've heard everything that she said, I don't know what to think of anything she says anymore.
Do you feel that she still has something to do with this? Because you told me that her and Andy are on your list, and she says Andy was at your house the night before, and she saw. I'm sorry. She said Andy was at your house the night before, and she saw Summer 2 nights before Summer went missing. Do you remember why Andy was over at your house the night before Summer went missing?
I mean, we used to buy a little bit of weed from Andy. We used to smoke weed,
Okay, so it's for weed. I thank you for telling me the truth. Nothing.
Now, Marie, you're not interrupting, honey. Corey, you're right. There's a good possibility she could have been buying Hunter vapes to sell to his buddies. I mean, I don't know though, because Andrew Hiltz, Hunter's dad, claims that Hunter was running with really, really bad crowd of people. So good possibility she could have been doing that. Corey, I adore you. I was just talking about the fake leg. And Grandma don't have a fake leg. In my opinion. Infinite Peace said, same could be said about everyone around Summer being believable or not. Absolutely, Infinite Peace. No doubt about it. And even Andy Bernard admits that he was the weed guy. He said that on Friday, Don and Candace were driving crazy to get weed. And I believe that. But it was sad to me when and I call her KK, Kato Caitlin, Jody Sue said that Andy was giving something to, specifically, I thought she said Candace. She may not have. These are not word for word verbatim. Said that he was giving something to over on 110 that was sedating these children so they can be touched. You haven't heard that? You haven't heard that, Lori? Yeah, Jody Sue said at one point that Andy was giving something to Candace and them over on the hill that would sedate these little girls so they could be touched. Now, this is the bad thing about KK, aka Jody Sue Brown, okay? Thank you, Marie. She was, Jody was very, very, very mad at Andy Bernard. She had been, what she says, abused by him for many, many, many years. He basically says it's like Don and Candace, but not Don and Candace. Okay? She, you know, it was just a really toxic relationship. And, you know, I can't sit there and say, oh my gosh, you know, Andy did that to Jody Sue. I wasn't there. But from what they say, you know, they both gave it to each other. So Don and Candace pretty much did the same thing. They gave it to each other. Yeah, she had a knee replacement, Corey. That I don't know if it actually popped out of place in Gatlinburg, but supposedly the story was the boys had been kicking her in the knee, which I don't know, boys are boys, but I mean, the way that people describe Grandma Candy, do you think that she would put up with the boys kicking her in the knee? So, Infinite Peace said there were many teenagers that had been on that hill over the years. Yes, ma'am. I would have been having the same questions as things began coming to the surface. Absolutely. There was also a picture of a young man who was holding a fish that supposedly lived right down the hill, you know, down the road a little bit. And it was said that Candace had been messing with him also. Corey said Miss Brown made him sound like he was salting heavy drugs, not just weed. Yeah, she did. But I guess that's something. I mean, he admitted to the weed, and Don admitted getting the weed from him. But the harder stuff, of course, nobody's going to admit to any of that. But then Jody Sue backed up and she was like, well, you know, I meant weed or whatever. Now, then you have to think of this, okay? Were there times that Candace or Dawn would send one of the boys over to the cabin across the street to pick up said weed or something? When Hunter was there all the time, did Hunter feel comfortable enough to walk across the street to Jody Sue's to get anything like that? And you have to remember that even though Jody Sue's son, Bud, was older, he hung out over there at the well sometimes. I'm sure, hey, Lil Wing, I'm sure that they all knew each other. I just feel that, now, Jose tried to say that he didn't really see Jody Sue, but, you know, it's questionable how long he was on the hill. Because Andrew Hiltz will say, oh, it was just a a couple weeks or whatever, right? But then you look at Jose, and Jose saying he was actually on the hill with Dawn for a month before the domestic violence, which was October of 2020 is when that happened. So he's saying that he was actually on the hill with Dawn for a month. So the weird thing about that is Jose said that he had talked to Dawn on the phone when Dawn was in Utah. So Dawn knew he was there, right? Dawn knew he was there. It's just what triggered Dawn coming home. He gives the big story. Well, Candace said she was sleeping with him and she thought I was at a party, and that's, I don't know. That's weird stuff. So let me start playing this more.
Nothing against that.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he came over the night before. Now, Jody Sue says she saw her 2 nights before. And she
Yeah,
said she was getting out of the shower naked and she was kind of throwing a fit. She wanted a towel. But she's also said in the past that she's seen Summer completely naked running around your property. Is that true?
I doubt that. I totally doubt that. No way. No way.
Not while you were home, at least, right? We could go with that, right?
No, I don't think Candace would let her do that. I don't believe that. I don't think so, not at all. She can't see our house from our house. Why?
Okay, he's talking about Jody Sue not being able to see if Summer was running around naked. If you go back to the interview with Dudley, Dudley's wife was with them, and they had went up there to get a check, right? Or payment or whatever. Dudley says that the kids come running out of the house with just their underwear on, and that's when Candace made the remark, "Did Dawn tell you I hate effing kids?" Okay? And that he pointed out Summer to his wife because at the time Summer's head was shaved and she looked like a little boy, right? What did Jody say several months ago, Beverly? A lot of things that I talk about Jody saying was she said it a while back. So some things, if I talk about Jody Sue at all, it's stuff that she said way back. I really don't watch her to I guess let me put it this way. A lot of what was important to me is what she said from the get-go. A lot of what I talk about is stuff that was said at the beginning. I just think that's important. According to no receipt, Jose lived on 110 from September 18th to October 15th. There is a photo of Dawn in Kingsport no earlier than October 6th. Okay. Alrighty, Infinite Peace. I was just saying what Jose said, so yeah, I don't know exactly how long he was there. It's also questionable on exactly how long Jose was there. And I find that stuff so silly because we know he was there and we know about the domestic stuff. So why would Jose lie about how long he was there? Andrew Hiltz kind of, throws that timeline, in a different direction too. So, yeah, definitely.
And I don't know why she wouldn't be running around naked. I mean, Candace or Summer would take her shoes off all the time because in the South it's hot,
Right.
It's real humid and hot, and you don't want to wear shoes for too long. Your feet will get.
Jeez, I'm such a goober, you guys. That's hilarious. I'm sitting there talking to you and I don't even have my mic off. Anyhow, Dawn admitted to taking showers with Summer, so we kind of know that. Also, Jose said he threw a fit about, Dawn taking showers with Summer. As far as Dudley being accepted and fired by Dawn and went away, I don't think Dudley bothered Dawn after that. If anything, if you remember the Dudley interview, he talked about a few days later or something like that, that Dawn started driving around where he was working at. So Dawn, it was his job site. He was the contractor. He was supposed to be fitting 50-50 split with Dudley. But if you go back and listen to all the interviews, Dawn would do stuff like tell Dudley the wrong job site. He would give Dudley bad information. Knowing that Dudley was having trouble with his vehicle, Dawn would have him follow him and then drive so fast that Dudley had a hard time keeping up. Dudley, from his wife speaking and him speaking, is very good at his job. So it's not like Dudley didn't know how to do his job. Then you got to turn around and look at Dawn saying that Dudley was all methed out and that Dudley was writing down meth stuff on the walls, and come to find out Dawn did that himself. Dawn finally admitted to doing that himself. So and this is just my opinion, and you guys have all the opinions you want. I appreciate all of them. I just don't think that Dudley messed with him anymore after that. I think he was done with Dawn. Dawn even brought up the fact that Dudley had worked, years and years before that with them too, and they had some problems. I just think that the Dawn and Dudley situation was both of them trying to be, what's the word I want to use? Both of them trying to one up each other at the job. And why I think that is because Dudley admitted that he was calling the boss, right? And talking about crazy stuff that Dawn was doing, and I can do it better, and I just think I believe Dudley. Lori, do you believe him too? Yeah, I think Dawn wanted to make Dudley look bad, and that's how I think that went. Infinite Peace says, I don't believe much of what Dudley had to say. I also do not put any credibility in what Fred Hill shared. I think Dudley was pretty honest about most of it. I think people have gotten the amount of money that Don Dudley screwed up. It wasn't $8,000 like I seen somebody put in there. It was way lower than that. And I believe, okay, good. But anyhow, I do believe a lot of what Dudley said. Don admitted that, Lori, didn't he? Don said Dudley wrote on the walls about meth and stuff like that, and Don finally admitted that he did that. So, but then, it why lie? And let me tell you about country people, okay? My family, I have family that lived in Hazard, Kentucky, and they lived in a holler. And they still are very, very proud people, okay? But if you got anybody from the city who came around, they could tell them some stories. They would say things, and then the people would leave, and they would think it was hilarious. They would think it was hilarious. Their sense of humor was so different than mine. I mean, it was even my family, and their situation, their sense of humor was just so different than mine. Not that everyone in the hills or hollers or mountains are illiterate people. Some of them are too smart. Just because they may not have a high school diploma. I have family who can totally tear apart, take a whole motor out of a car, and within a couple of days have it put back together. I mean, it astounds me. So it's not that they're uneducated. They just may not be, high school educated. Yeah, Don was very jealous and worried that Dudley would show him up. I don't know why he agreed to the 50-50 with Dudley to start with. I just never quite understood that. Unless, Don always tried to make himself out to be this, real good person. Yeah, Don admitted that. Actually, did he admit? I don't know. I can't remember if he admitted it on, excuse me, CM's channel. I'll have to find it. I think I still have a little bit to go over that interview that Steve Johnson's looking at too. So Infinite Peace says people don't fire their best workers without cause. Well, you have to realize, excuse me, Don, you're right, Lori. Don fired Dudley, not the owner. But there was so much contention between Don and Dudley that who wanted to be in the middle of that crap? You had Don doing stupid stuff on the job, and, Dudley was calling over going, man, let me work on my own or put me with somebody else. I don't want to work with this guy. Right? And Dudley gets fired on the 14th. Don said he only worked with him for a short amount of time, and Dudley said he actually worked with him for longer. But I guess the whole scenario of the Dudley working with Don is, did what happened, did that storm leave that area and make its way to Ben Hill? I guess that's the way you can look at it. did anything that happened on that job site bleed over onto Ben Hill? That's I guess the question. All right, I'm gonna put this back on.
We don't have family in that area.
And you wanted to get out of that area, right? You actually wanted to leave. That house was actually left to you, right? The property, the house.
Yeah, we were in the process of moving. I got a good job out in Utah. Headed up that way, trying to move, and some things happened.
So trying to move. The whole Jose thing happened. We all know. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so you come back, right? You get back, and we'll kind of skip the Jose thing. Okay, let's just pass that. Okay, let's get past that. At what point? And we kind of touched on this. The red Subaru. Did you guys own that, or are you leasing it, or are you making payments on it to buy it?
Just buying it.
So it's over probably what 72 months or 82 months. I'm sorry, 82 months or something.
I don't know.
Was your payment a good amount of money?
Yeah, it costs a lot, but yeah, it's $26,000 plus interest.
Gotcha. Okay.
A high rate of interest.
So you take that Subaru that day to work, and at what time do you leave again? In the morning time?
Yeah, I just usually, when the sun hits, I don't set an alarm clock or anything. I don't pay attention to that. When the sun, when I wake up, I get up, get dressed, and I go to work. I work from sun up, sundown usually.
Okay, this is what I wish Doug would have asked him. Is the Subaru paid off? I've heard different people say that Don paid cash for the Subaru. Don says he's making payments, $600 a month, plus insurance or whatever. And of course, driving the Subaru that day gives Don his best friend OnStar. Okay. I think what I try to say, and this is just because I think this way, Don could have drove. Okay, we know Don did drive the Subaru that day, but there was a work vehicle that he could have got into at any time that day and left that job site, then came back, and maybe right after he got back is when his boss seen him pulling up and, why you got your Subaru sitting here? And then the conversation begins. All Don says is, I talked to my boss and a couple other people that I work with for about an hour and a half. Now, I don't know, this probably isn't relevant, but it's just because we can question that. If you were in the house spackling, did they come in the house to talk to you? Did you go outside to maybe get a tool or something, and they seen you out there then and talked to you? Or were you gone and used a different truck to say, like, you went to pick up materials or whatever, and you come back and they see you pull up, and before you can go back in the house is when they strike up a conversation with you. Do you guys see what I'm saying? If I'm not making no sense, tell me I ain't making no sense. I will appreciate you for that. All right, here we go.
So what time would you have left the house that day? Did you see Candace and Grandis leaving, going to the hospital?
No. Everybody was asleep when I left.
Everybody was still asleep when you left?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would have had to leave before 7:30, because if they got to the hospital by 8 a.m. and you're like 30 minutes from it, they would have had to leave around like 7:30, right?
Probably.
Yeah, okay. And the last time you saw Summer, and the last thing that happened, her leg was kind of over yours, or your leg was over hers, and you had to get out of bed, right?
Yeah, she always wanted to sleep. All our kids, slept in between me and Candace. We have a king size bed, and all our kids when they were young, stayed between us, you know. And then when they got old enough, we moved to their own bed and stuff. We had summer bed, but she wanted to be next to me.
So what time did you all go to bed on the 14th? So you and who was where?
I'm not sure what time, you know, exactly. Not sure. I know that we had a welfare case, you know, because somebody called and said that we was letting the kids run around with guns, loaded guns, and they closed the case the days before. They were there about 7 p.m. You know, late, and they closed the case the day before Summer went missing.
So they were they coming back on the 16th, the day after, or is that just hearsay from people?
They closed the case on the 14th.
Right, that's what I was told.
Because I showed them the gun that I let the kids play with, and it was just a little CO2 BB gun, and I put a CO2 cartridge in it. Because Summer liked to run around with it and just go pop, 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 you know, that popping sound, you know. And I'd let the kids, you know, I had Josie and Wyatt.
Did you let them shoot the fridge? Who shot the fridge? Who put the bullet holes in the fridge? I'm just curious. The outdoor fridge.
Probably me.
Okay. I don't know what else I did. you were beating the hell out of that thing with a stick.
Oh, well, the kids would go out there. The reason I did that is because the kids, Summer liked to do that. She'd go out there and beat on that thing for fun. And I was just showing.
Okay. Don says on the 14th that the CPS case that they had open was closed. That case was closed. So do you think when CPS came out there, he says late, right, on the 14th, that talking to Dawn and getting the information about the guns and stuff, that the caseworker or whoever it was said, okay, well, we're closing this, and told them right away that they were closing the case? I don't know. I'm just asking you guys' opinion on that. Yeah, Marie, Dudley swore up and down that the Subaru, Don had drove it on the 14th, and that the conversation with the boss and stuff happened on that day. That's the day Dudley got fired, right? Dudley got fired the day before Summer went missing. And to be honest, my opinion, I don't think this was my question as far as that. And I would have to go back and listen to the interviews and everything, but Dudley was driving his vehicle up to the Ben Hill to ride with Dawn, right? The picture of Summer dancing in the rain, supposedly that's Dudley's vehicle sitting behind it. But then I hear that Jody Sue had a vehicle, you know, that was that color and kind of looked like that too. Someone had tried to say that Dudley sold that vehicle to Jody Sue, and when Cam was trying to make his weird ass phone call, Dudley said he never sold that car to Jody Sue. He still had his vehicle. So, I mean, why lie about things? I just don't get it. We're talking about missing girls, a little missing girl. And you all want to lie about, to me, is petty stuff. Petty stuff. Marie, what do you mean that's not what C says? You kind of have to let me know what you're talking about, so that way I can we can kind of talk about it. All right, I'm gonna play a little bit more.
What she liked to do, and other things she liked to do. That's all that was.
Okay. I didn't want to speculate on that. You know what I mean?
Man,
Okay, so we've got you coming home. You go to the first shed down at the bottom, right? Okay, so you come home. You're in the Subaru, right?
you know,
All right, and you're alone, right?
you know,
So you come home and you get to the bottom because there was a video that we had where you're describing it, and you, instead of I, you said we turned here. Do you remember that video?
I don't remember saying we, but that might have slipped out. But it was just being wrong.
Okay, so you get to the bottom, you check the shed, and at what point do you run into Jody Sue? Because she claims that she was out front already and she was taking the creek, and somebody else was taking some other part of the property.
I never run into her. I never run into Candace's. She said something about that, but I didn't. I went back top of the property, and I think there was one, maybe two police cars there.
All right. Now, Jody Sue said at 6:09, Candace was in the truck, had came to the bottom of the driveway on Ben Hill, right? And Jody was standing there, and that's when Jody, she heard Dawn talking to Candace on the phone, and Jody says Jody says, I'm sorry, I didn't know, and maybe a little adage to that or something. And Dawn says, what do you mean? Are you telling me that my daughter was kidnapped? That was supposedly that conversation with Jody standing there. So, is it a possibility that Dawn didn't see Jody? Because by the time Dawn got there, okay, Jody, he says he's seen the boys and his, and another neighbor, not Jody Sue. So, I don't know where Jody Sue went at that time. Marie said, remember CPS was coming, the boys were supposed to clean the 15th. I can't remember who said that the boys were supposed to have cleaned the house on the 15th. I don't remember who said that, but I remember hearing that. Corey said, I don't think they closed it, and did they turn around and open it again? Well, they opened, let me tell you, if they did close it completely, they opened another one after Summer went missing. So, yeah, because they got the boys. So, Candace said CPS was coming and the boys were supposed to be cleaning the house on the 15th. Right, and CPS isn't coming at 7 p.m. Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I guess CPS could show up anytime because you have to remember where they were driving from. So, depending on where CPS was coming from, they, could have had, Corey said, David Dotson said the boys was at the horse pond. I would have to listen to David Dotson's conversation again. I'm not saying you're wrong, Corey. I ain't saying you're wrong. I'm gonna get to David Dotson and go through a lot of different things on that guy, because I'm gonna tell you that guy's shady. What kind of person goes from church to church to try to figure out where they want to be? He wasn't at the SDA church that Dawn and Candace was. They wasn't members, but that's where they went. Okay, and so he leaves that church right after Summer went missing because he found a girlfriend who was a member of the Baptist church. So what we need to do with David Dotson is look at where David Dodson had a pilot license, right? And Dawn had talked about, or David had talked about Dawn bringing the boys out to the airport or something. It's interesting. I'll definitely get into him. He's a I don't know. He's got red flags all over himself to me. And I know he also worked at the mortuary, or not mortuary, but the morgue and different stuff like that. So he's an interesting character, especially if you want to get into the, which we know happens, the trafficking of organs and different stuff like that. And I don't know, that guy's just, he's definitely on my weird list. Him and Tim Mullins are both on my weird list. So,
and then they started questioning me, all these questions and stuff, you know, and I'm not trying to be mean or nothing, but all these questions, you know, like, anyways, I knew, I felt in my heart at that time, and I knew that somebody took her, because she wouldn't leave the property. There's no way. She would not. Right? So I'm trying to explain to the cops, you know, all this and that, and they're in like me and Candace's face and everything, and I'm just not getting through to them. And they're looking at us all suspicious with all these questions, blah, blah, blah.
Did Candace talk to them before you, or did Grandis, or who was the first people to interact with the cops?
I have no idea, because when I come up there, that he was already there and talking to him, and I have no clue. I don't know.
Who was talking to the cops when you got home?
No, I believe, I really don't know. I mean, at this point, okay, you have to understand that at this point in time, I'm in shock, because I know that she's gone. Okay? And trying to explain this to the police and everything, I'm trying to say, you're in our face, you're questioning us. You need to go out and block this end of Beach Creek. You need to go over to Churchill and block that. I'm thinking, why aren't you on the radio? And, and I'm not getting through. Like, you need to block this end of the county and this end of the county, and I'm not getting through these people. And they're in my face questioning, and looking everywhere.
okay, I will find that, because I've got it. I have it transcribed, the conversation that Dawn had with Chris McDonough, and we have to look and see if what he said to Chris McDonough and what he is saying to Doug here kind of coincides with each other. I will give Don credit to the extent that he was very upset that Summer was gone. But he's talking about, why aren't they closing the road down and all this other stuff. And what I'm going to say about that is, if I remember right, with the Chris McDonough, Don was complaining that they had bottlenecked everything off and he couldn't get back down the hill, and he wanted to go talk to all the meth heads and drug dealers on Beach Creek. So we that's why a lot of people say, let's keep them on YouTube and keep them talking. Because it would have been much simpler for him to say, look, I was devastated. I couldn't tell you what time anything happened, right? But instead he uses a filler all the time. He wants to fill in every little thing, and that's where he's getting caught up, where people are catching him up on what he's saying. It's because of that. So, and the CPS worker, Corey, yeah, some employees, CPS workers, they do work specific times. Sorry, you guys, my dog's barking again. But they do work certain times. but there are workers who work, you know, there's people there all night long. If they're called, they have to go, and if it was something that they were just going to go out and talk to them and whatever, and you have to remember too, supposedly every time they were coming during the day, Candace wasn't answering the door. So don't think CPS don't come a creeping sometimes just to try to catch you off guard and catch you at home, because they definitely will do that. They definitely will do that. So, but you know what? That's good. Your mom was a caseworker. We need good people to work in these jobs. And the sad thing about it, I don't think anybody's a CPS fan, because of how they do their business or whatever. But we just don't have good people who want to work in that kind of environment. And then when they do and they get hired on, they're so overburdened with cases that, I really feel horrible for caseworkers sometimes. Other times, some of them just don't need to be at that job. So
It was a literal nightmare, and plus, they're deep shock because she's not being found. Of course, our hopes are there. We're having hopes that hey, she'll be found soon. She's not too far, or whatever. You got that hope. But as time goes by, that hope fades, and the shock sets in more and more and more. Helpful and be friendly with them, especially because they have so many kids, and they just wanted to. She just wanted to try to help them.
Have you met Allie before?
I met her a few times. Yeah.
What is she like?
No, I don't know. I mean,
Do you like her?
Well, after what she's done, I don't know. I mean,
Let me rephrase that then. Do you trust what she's saying?
Not at all. No.
okay. Hey Ruby, be careful driving home. This is the thing. Dawn doesn't like Allie and them because of the falling out that they had, and what Allie and them were saying. And so that's kicking in to be defensive of his wife. Then you have also Candace, who does the same thing. They're both very defensive for each other when it comes down to Mary, do you know Dawn's biological sister is named Heidi Tate Lawson? Huh. Got that Tate in there, does it? How's her name Heidi Tate Lawson? I thought her name was Sonia. Is Sonia just a nickname or something? Infinite Peace says things may be different now. If I am Amber Alert had gone out the same time, they requested search and rescue, in my opinion. The thing is, Infinite Peace, search and rescue, they were all there by 7:03, I believe. when it went out that there was a little girl missing, everybody just came together very quickly. And let's see. Ruby, I'm sorry about the bad storms you keep getting. Marie, are you not hearing me at all? Is anybody else having trouble hearing me? Because Marie has trouble hearing me all the time, and I don't know if it's me or maybe Marie. I know I went through and reset my my microphone stuff. So somebody holler at me and tell me real quick so I know. I know you're not hearing them on the phone right now because I'm talking. Corey, what do you mean she's a loss and might explain a lot? I'm kind of lost on that conversation. With the Amber Alert, okay, first it was a missing child alert, and then it went into the Amber Alert. The card team was there, and they found nothing to show that well, you have to understand, they thought that Summer had just wandered away from home. So my question always was, what exact information were they given that turned it into an Amber Alert as quickly as they did? And that's something they won't ever tell us. Yeah, I mean, Infinite Peace, that's a good possibility they were wrong. But I think in any case, it's just not going to be perfect. But how are they going to issue an Amber Alert when they had no preferences of a vehicle? What were they going to say? The Amber Alert, I believe, came along because oh yeah, no, honey, I wasn't playing a video. That's on my phone, and I paused it for a minute because that's stepsister on the good side of the family. You mean Jeannie and Mary? Yeah, Marie, honey, I haven't turned the video back on yet. I'm just playing it on my phone, so I'm not even showing it. The card team was there, Infinite Peace. All they knew when they arrived to look for Summer was that she was gone. And so they didn't know if she had wandered away. You know, if she had wandered away or somebody picked her up. You know, they didn't know that. But, you know, the thing about it is the neighbor supposedly had a camera. I'm sure more than that neighbor in that area had cameras. They said that they went through and got all digital evidence, but they're not going to tell us what they've seen on anything. They're not going to tell us nothing at all. And, you know, law enforcement doesn't like social media very much, but if you look everything that's happened and stuff like that, I think you can kind of figure out why. Yeah, Corey, I did cut off for a minute because my dumb butt was talking to you guys and I didn't unmute myself. So that's just me being my goober self. So, all right, let's see what else Don has to say.
No, not after all.
Breast cancer
Oh,
can
sorry.
grow suddenly, and so it's very important for us to screen every.
All this.
What about Hunter's story?
Well, I mean, he was coach into what to say. I like Hunter. I mean, when he was out at our house, we would always hug, and we had really good conversations, and everything, was good up to the point of where Summer come up missing, and why, they done these things. I don't know if she was trying to get back to Candace. I don't know why they violently turned on us like they did, and come up with all these stories and all this stuff. I don't know why.
Andrew Hiltz told us that there was a case because he actually called to CPS on you guys for Hunter and Candace. Did you know this?
Now we get into Candace when she was on panel with Ernie Shell, and Ernie was telling Candace a lot of things that Don had been saying, and Candace acted totally surprised, like she never heard a lot of what Don was saying. And now you have Don, who was in jail, that didn't know what Candace was doing. And I remember hearing Don talk about it one time, and he was like, I haven't even watched any, when he got out of jail, he hadn't went back down and watched a lot of stuff that Candace even said on YouTube. So, let's see, Infinite Peace. All I'm saying is that it alert for a missing 5-year-old should go out immediately and not be only focused at the point they went missing. I agree 100%. I think no matter what, that an Amber Alert should go out with any child. It doesn't matter if they think that they walked around the corner to a friend's house and they find them 20 minutes later. I believe that. It's just hard when you had nothing to go on except for you got a little missing 5-year-old girl. And I don't care what anybody says. I heard it come out of Leslie Earhart's mouth that said Summer was seen walking down the road at around 7 o'clock, I believe. And it's hard to find that anymore because, law enforcement would say some things and then, they wouldn't talk about it anymore. But my question always was definitely, what information were they given that changed from a missing child alert to an Amber Alert? Because we all know that with Amber Alerts, they have to hit, there's so many different things that, the situation has got to be checked off. So, Dawn has 2 stepsisters, Mary and Jeannie, and then he's got a full sister named Sonia. Is there another sister I don't know about? Because somebody was just telling me there was a sister named something Tate, Heidi Tate Lawson, biological sister. I just don't see that. I don't know. I don't know. I'll write the name down, but you want to, I know the name I know the name Tate, which would be interesting if it had anything to do with it, because that would kind of put me in a situation of something that I know. But no, I've never heard that. They also tried to say him and Lawson were related, and you have to realize when you get into Tennessee, Kentucky, really anywhere, um, really anywhere. So, and who described it best? I think it was Scott H. Where somebody from this hill may hook up with somebody from another hill, and they intertwine, have children. So yeah, I mean, if you look, you can look at all that genealogy. There's somebody, Michelle After Dark. I think she does also Michelle Walks. She actually did a genealogy on the goats and everything. It was fantastic because, and I'd have to pull out my family tree, but there was a Meek that was married to in the genealogy charts. I think it was to either a light. I can't remember if it was a light or a gold. I'd have to pull it out and even tell you what her name was. But I remember distinctly that we traced our family tree back quite a ways. And when we were looking for her, they actually went to the cemetery where Don's mom's buried, and where Mr. Goad's buried, her husband at the time. So yeah, that was really interesting to me. I thought, man, what a small world. But yeah, I mean, Goad had children also. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, those would be stepsisters. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Corey. All right, I'm going to play a little bit more of this. Here we go.
Oh. Um, the Facebook Messenger.
My apologies,
There was
guys.
actually
Can you hear
a
it now?
woman that showed up, and she was going to help, you know, with all this stuff. And the news people come up there one night, and she flipped out on them. And I told her, I said, I don't know who you think you are, but you need to just get off the property. And then she started posting all kinds of stuff and going on YouTube saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And that was just part of it. She was saying all this crazy stuff, all these theories and stuff, and putting it all on YouTube because I made her leave. She was mad. And so, yeah, I was just a small part of all this crazy rumors and all this speculation, just spreading lies and hate everywhere.
Now, I am going to say this. There's still crazy stuff going around. And I used to go to a lot of different channels and watch them and stuff. And then, I kind of laid off watching a lot of them because they were just, some of the stuff that they were saying was just so far out there. And, I kind of felt wasn't relevant in Summer's case at all. I remember watching somebody, having conversation on Candace's dad or Kenneth Bly leaving Summer money before he died and stuff. And, I don't know. That conversation is just not one that I even want to get into. Pat Wick said, two biological, Heidi and Sonia, do you buy laundry? Are you and Tanya? Oh, are you talking about the laundromat? Do you buy laundry? Girl, Pat, I don't know. I don't know what do you mean, do I buy laundry? Are you and Tanya? Honey, I don't know who are you talking to somebody in chat? Because I'm kind of lost there. But I knew that, I do know a lot of people did befriend Candace for all the wrong reasons. And I'm sorry that she had to go through that. But in everybody's mind, they just thought that if they could befriend her and get her to trust them, then she was going to tell them something that was going to help find Summer. So that kind of leaves you at, does she know? Does she know what happened to Summer? Her track record as far as with younger boys, I'll say, we've heard about it. She would deny it, of course. I also seen, I think it was a Facebook message where she was talking to this guy, thought it was a guy, and as far as I know, it was a guy. And this person acted like that they didn't know about Summer and talked about meeting her, and they were going to meet up in Gatlinburg. And we ended up with that text conversation. So what does that tell you? She shouldn't have trusted anybody from the beginning at all. And I hate to say that because if you look at Candace in that situation, you can honestly tell that it had to have been lonely up there on the hill. I honestly, when Grandma Candy left, I was amazed that she could stay up there on that hill by herself. So she didn't feel threatened being there by herself at all. I'm sure she was probably kind of lonely and stuff, but she didn't feel threatened being up there. But then she finally did leave. And it was probably for the best that she left because, I mean, she was up there on YouTube drinking and everything else. And I mean, if you followed the case, you have heard her say a couple of times that she loved Don, but she wasn't in love with him. Honestly, he must have felt the same way about her because he was going to leave her. From my understanding, Jenna, who was Candace's friend, knew at one point that Don told Candace he was going to divorce her and go live with a creator that he was having an emotional relationship with, that we still try to figure out how long him and this creator actually knew each other. Because you're honestly going to get a divorce from your wife and you're going to go live with somebody that you've only talked to on the telephone. I mean, I guess it happens. But, you know, just weird. All right, you guys, I've been on here 2 hours. I've been telling myself that I can't be on here for over a couple hours, and I went through and got rid of a couple of my old lives. My StreamYard went up, which is okay. I don't mind paying my StreamYard. That's not a big deal to me. I just don't want to have to pay for a bunch more hours when there was some lives I could get rid of that nobody paid attention to anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm always open for a discussion about anything. I will throw my email up. I'll throw it in the chat. And hey, I'll be glad to have a discussion about anything. Did anybody figure out why Benny went to the jail, what they say? I just kind of wonder what he did. But a lot of people say maybe it's karma coming around to bite him in the butt. Karma will come and bite you on the butt, just like Mother Nature. Ruby, I hope you're okay. You need to call me when you get home, okay? Ruby lives quite a ways from her house, so, and I know that they've had that bad weather, so please send prayers to everyone who's been affected by all this bad weather and stuff going on. And Pat, you know, thanks for putting that name out there for me. I'm gonna check into it. I find that name Heidi Tate Lawson very interesting. I will definitely check that out and see where that kind of leads me. But thank you everybody for being here. Corey, thank you. Ruby, what am I seeing? Are you just letting me know you're okay? Pat, thanks for coming in. I always appreciate seeing you. Thank you, Cindy and Corey. And Infinite Peace, thank you for popping in. You know, what you guys say, you know, you give me a lot of things to think about, you know, think about also. Marie, I hope you can hear me, Marie. Hang in there, Marie. Victoria, always great. You know, you guys just, I love when you guys come in and, you know, we can open up a dialogue that, you know, all of us can kind of question, you know, whatever we're talking about. And what I was playing on my phone was from Doug from No Thanks, and it's actually titled Summer Wells New Info, Don Wells Comes on Panel. So, and that was done 12 hours ago. Lori, thank you for popping in. I appreciate you. You know I do. PE Island Girl, thank you. And I think already Beverly, Little Wing, you know I always appreciate you coming in. Nice to see you pop in and still watching your content, girl. Yeah. anybody who has a channel, you're more than welcome to drop your link anytime. When you come in, if you got a channel, don't think I'm going to be offended if you drop your link, because I am not. I will never be offended by somebody promoting themselves in my chat. I have not a problem with that whatsoever. The real Rockin' Robin. Oh, Robin, I'm sorry you're having YouTube problems, honey. I'm just getting ready to get off. But I'm glad you popped in. I appreciate it so much. You can catch me next time. I've seen you in a couple chats. I always try to say hi. I'm sorry you're having troubles. Seems like a lot of people are having troubles with YouTube today, but you know that I know where Ruby's at. Them storms are horrid. They are horrible. So yeah, honey, Robin, you come back. You come back. You definitely come back. You and Corey, I appreciate you guys being here. And Pat, and all of you. I think I've tried to name you all. I'm sorry if I forgot somebody. You guys are all very important to me. I love your opinions and theories, and I love what you tell me. You know, it's all open for discussion, and never think that anything that you say in my chat is the wrong thing. Okay? Never think that. Robin said it was horrible, lost power for 10 hours. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't know. I mean, I live in Indiana and we've had some bad storms. I slept through one. My granddaughter, she was like, Nana, that storm scared me, and I didn't even know it stormed. I slept through it. So thank you, Marie, for letting me know you can hear me. You know, I appreciate you. All right, definitely come back, everybody. I appreciate y'all so much. Yeah, please definitely pray for these people having all this, you know, Mother Nature, she can play havoc on us. And I've said it before, she doesn't care. She doesn't care what you look like. She didn't care what the color of your skin is. She don't care if you got money, if you don't have money, if you have clothes, shoes. She don't care. So maybe we need to send some love into Mother Nature so she'll calm down a little bit, because something sure's got her ticked off for sure. So, all right, ladies, thank you so much. Ruby, make sure you call me when you get home so I know you're okay. And you know, like I said, my email's up there. Drop me a line, and you know, always open for good conversation. Thank you, Robin. That's right. Robin said, have a great night, everyone. Hug your loved ones a little harder today. You better believe it. Oh, thank you, Marie. Thank you for that. Yeah, I really don't do Facebook. I do have a Facebook account, but I don't even have my picture or nothing on it. And the only friends I have on there is my kids. So I just don't, get on Facebook all that much. Victoria said, I saw a video on Southern Girl channel about Dawn having two sisters. Honey, I know she's got Sonia, but I don't know about this Heidi Tate Lawson. I have heard the name before, but I don't know. Sonia is his real sister. I know that for a fact. We'll have to look at the genealogy. I'll pop over to Michelle Walks and find where she does the genealogy page, and I'm sure she'll be okay if I want to pop over and bring it over and kind of show it over here. So yeah, she seemed, Michelle Walks. You can definitely go over there and watch it. And like I said, usually if I talk about something going on that's on somebody else's channel, pop over there and watch it. Maybe you'll catch things that I haven't caught or something like that. So, all right, I got to get off here. So thank you all so much. And you know, be kind to one another. I know it can be hard sometimes, but, you know, we can just try is all you can do. So, all right. Peace out, everybody.